Tuesday evening.
What's up?
Not much. So
What's happening?
we are going
Episode
to.
6.
This is episode 6. I should have put that in the thing. In fact, I
No,
always
no, no,
gotta
no,
put
no.
it in.
You're good. I was trying to make sure I had the right number. So, yeah. What's up, guys?
What's
funny.
poppin'?
Joe, what's up, dude? It's good to see you, man.
What's going on, dude?
It's been like 2
Not-
weeks.
Yeah, it's been like 2 weeks.
So we're going to a decent little show coming up for y'all and everything like that. My name is Med. I've come from Shots from the Sideline. This is our love child, Isaac, and myself. Blitz hits the fan. We have Janae hopping on with us. Of course, Joseph, the Raider fan, is in the house. And first things first, we're going to be talking about some Super Bowl reactions, how we thought about the game. Isaac has some questions that he got from another show, and he has his own thing going on. And then today we have the random wheel selection with our Big Ape podcaster mock draft that will be actually going down in a few weeks. And I just realized this misspelled Indianapolis, but it's all good. It's all good because we're about to talk Super Bowl, baby. And Isaac, you go ahead and you take the floor, man.
So, the dude asked me the question for later was, should the Packers get a backup quarterback? So I'll pitch that later. I thought I kind of like the idea.
Mitch
Here's my
Trubisky.
problem with the Super Bowl. Okay. And it's not just Kyle Shanahan. And I know Joe's going to come with a hot Purdy take for me in a minute. And I'm going to be, loving it. And I'm not saying Purdy played great. His lack of using his legs was one of the reasons the 49ers lost, because Mahomes did use his legs. I know it hurts Joe to watch Mahomes keep winning Super Bowls. I understand. 3 now. It sucks. And it might be 3 in a row if nobody can figure this out. But him using his legs, 9 runs, 66 yards. Purdy only 3 for 12. After Purdy used them so effectively against the Lions, that was one of the reasons they beat the Lions. Timely, effective runs are killers for a defense. Mahomes' runs in this game were crucial. There was times they had nothing else going. Kelsey didn't get going until the second half. Honestly, the fact that McCole Hardman was their second leading receiver shows you what's going on. Rasheed Rice wasn't much of a threat. Watson had a couple plays, but it was really Kelsey down the stretch and Mahomes using his legs, because Pacheco, they neutralized him. He only had 18 rushes for 59 yards. Kyle Shanahan's lack of preparation in the second half kills me, because I don't see him winning a Super Bowl. I just don't see it unless it happens next year, and Super Bowl hangover is real. This was their opportunity. They were the slightly more talented team, and they were beaten by coaching and superior quarterback play. But it is far superior coaching. Spagnuolo, man, Andy Reid, the fact that they didn't know the overtime rules, the 49ers, that just goes to show you, and the halftime adjustments that Reid made, Shanahan doesn't do that. And this is 3 times now when he was OC for the Falcons, and they blew that 28-3. And I don't put too much on them. I mean, they lost that Super Bowl with Garoppolo. There was a lot of things they could have done that game. And this one isn't as big of an indictment as the 28-3, even though he was just the OC. But this was a game they should have won. And to me, they lost because Mahomes outplayed Purdy. I give them that. But really, I think the coaching was the biggest difference.
I agree. Joe,
I
you
got some
wanna
more
go
on that
next?
in a minute. I just, yeah.
Joe, you good? You want to go next, or you want Janae to hit it? Janae, you
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, man. I look at it like it was definitely coaching. I blame Shanahan for many different things. Getting away from the run game in the third quarter when you're ahead. They went 3 and out 3 or 4 times in the third quarter, and it was pass, 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 punt, pass, 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 punt. It was, and so one of the pushback arguments that I've seen is people were like, well, the Chiefs were stopping McCaffrey. He was only averaging like 3.6 yards a carry or something like that. But the truth is, a big part of the reason why the Chiefs were stopping the run is because Shanahan insisted on slamming McCaffrey into the middle of the line over and over and over again. Whereas every single time that he would go off tackle behind Trent Williams, he was gashing him. He was getting chunk plays. So I blame Shanahan for that. I personally don't think that taking the ball in overtime was a bad decision. I know I'm in the minority there, and people are going to talk about not knowing the rules, but see, to me, the real criminal thing that Shanahan did was not going for it in overtime when it was 4th and 4. He should have went for the touchdown instead of taking the field goal, because Patrick Mahomes is going to score a touchdown in overtime. That's what he does. It's what he gets paid to do. In my opinion, Shanahan conceded the game right there when he took that field goal. Now, granted, if the Niners turn the ball over right there, then what happens? Mahomes is going to go down and score anyway, so you're going to lose anyway. So you really had nothing to lose, like by going for the touchdown. And let's say the Niners get that touchdown, right? Then the Chiefs go down, score a touchdown. Now the Niners get the ball, and it's sudden death, and you only need a field goal to win. So I actually thought that strategy was sound, but his strategy throughout the game, there were a lot of questionable things to me. Like, to me, it felt like Shanahan decided, like, in the third quarter, I'm gonna put this game in Brock Purdy's hands, and I'm gonna let him win it for us. And
he wanted him to get the credit. It was Shanahan who wanted the credit.
He wanted Purdy to win the MVP, I think, is part of it. I think he trusted Purdy. Like, he thought, you know what? This guy's better than Jimmy. I can put the game in his hands, and he's going to win it for me. And unfortunately for him, Purdy proved him wrong. Purdy is better than Jimmy, but Purdy, in my opinion, showed that he's not the type of quarterback that can elevate the team around him. Great quarterbacks in the Super Bowl make the plays to win the game, and he didn't do that. And so
they also played into the Chiefs' hands. The Chiefs secondary, the Ravens did this too. I'm going to just really quick. The Chiefs secondary is their strength, and not only did they not use motion, they didn't use any stacks. They didn't get creative ways to get their playmakers the ball, except for a couple plays to McCaffrey in space. Jennings was their leading receiver. That wasn't a running back. That doesn't work. So if you're gonna put the game on Purdy, at least get your weapons the ball in space. But they also played right into the hands of the Chiefs secondary. Snead and McDuffie had those two on just lockdown. And the Ravens did the same crap the week before. They wanted Lamar to win it instead of running the ball. They got away from who they were.
But so what you're saying is kind of proving my point even more. Like, their strategy was not sound. Their strategy was not sound. And
no, it wasn't. It wasn't at all.
I feel like it's a good thing for them, because at least now, like, Purdy, don't get me wrong, like, I know that I'm going to get the reputation as a Purdy hater, but I'm not a Purdy hater. Like, I think he's a good enough quarterback, but I'm just not convinced that he's elite. I said it before, I'll say it again.
Well,
if you put Purdy on the Tennessee Titans, he's the 18th best quarterback in the league.
Okay, but can I ask you a quick question? What is elite? Because to me, there's only a few guys who are elite. And I don't even think CJ Stroud's elite. I don't think Lamar Jackson's elite.
No.
I personally could make an argument Josh Allen is, but he hasn't done it in the playoffs. The only guy that's beaten Mahomes in a playoff game and in the regular season, well, in the playoffs, I'm just going to stick on the playoffs, is Joe Burrow. So when we talk elite, we got Mahomes.
Guys.
Who else is elite in the NFL right now? That's my question.
Probably 3 or 4 guys. Like, I
exactly.
Think Mahomes is elite. Burrow is elite. I think Josh Allen has elite moments, but he also has choke moments. I don't think Lamar is elite.
Lamar can't be said about Lamar.
Lamar can't be elite
put Lamar
until
up there.
He wins the championship,
he just choked in the playoffs
or at least
again.
Like until he balls out in the playoffs. Like,
Lamar's like a Dak to me, man. He puts up MVP winning or caliber seasons.
Regular season quarterback.
But elite in the playoffs, I mean, we're talking maybe 3, and Allen really hasn't been able to slay this Mahomes dragon either. So
right,
I agree.
And
the funny thing is, because I got Purdy like 7 or 8 on my list, and I don't think he's elite either.
But would you have Purdy on your
That's
list?
why I brought up
Would you have Purdy at 8 if he didn't have Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk? Like, come on, dude. Like at some point, you have to give
Well,
credit to the
here's my
49ers
question
offense.
though. Like guys like Jalen Hurts, I really doubt Dak now because Dak has completely shrunk. Here's my thing. Dak has weapons, and Dak has had weapons and still completely shrunk in big moments. So I actually, personally, if you're asking me what quarterback I'd draft, yeah, Dak might have a bigger arm, but I actually like Purdy's decision making. So between those two, and honestly, I don't know if Hurts has the arm. He's got elite leg strength, but he has a plethora of weapons. And look what just happened to them this year. Now their defense is trash. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know, man. He got paid, and I think the Eagles are going to be in a world of hurt now, paying him $50+ million a year.
Another thing that I look at. So there's a couple more reasons why the Niners lost the game. Third quarter, the Chiefs get the ball, they come out. Patrick Mahomes throws an interception. The Niners offense goes 3-and-out. Like that was a huge momentum swing in the game. You're already up, and you get this interception. You have the chance to go down and really take a commanding lead. And you go 3-and-out. Also,
my destination's work, man.
In the first half, I really feel like losing Greenlaw really hurt the Niners because in the first half,
oh man, yeah, the Greenlaw loss. AK was saying that to me from Millie Goats.
Kelsey had one catch for like 1 yard, and that Patrick Mahomes looked lost in the first half, and it's because they had Greenlaw and they had gosh, why am I blanking on his name? He's like the best linebacker in Warner. They had Warner and Greenlaw both. So the middle of the field wasn't open. But as soon as Greenlaw went down, the Niners had to make defensive adjustments to try to cover that part of the field. And it just didn't work. Like all of a sudden, the second half, Kelsey's wide open the whole second half, and he gets his numbers, right? Like losing Greenlaw was a big part of it. But also, I noticed that in the first half, the Niners pass rush was extremely efficient, and they were very disciplined in their rush. So they were getting to Patrick Mahomes, they were getting pressure, but they weren't over pursuing and leaving rushing lanes open. And in the second half, they became less disciplined, and it opened up rushing lanes for Patrick Mahomes that he started gashing them, dude. And I agree with you that those quarterback runs were killers for the Niners, dude.
Absolutely. They really were.
The defensive ends losing contain, that's coaching. Like, it can happen once, but if your coach isn't saying like, hey, you guys need to keep contained, stay disciplined. I mean, Med, you're a football coach. What is the number one thing you tell your defensive ends? You can't lose contain, right? You always want to force them back to the inside. What's that?
And they did such a great job with that in the first half, dude. Like they had it. The problem is Mahomes puts so much pressure on you. If you leave him in the game, that's why that Bucs Super Bowl, you've got to put Mahomes in the freaking ground. And the Raiders made him run. That formula worked, and the 49ers had it in the first half. But the problem is Andy Reid is the ultimate halftime, and Spagnuolo too. They make adjustment halftime. Shanahan's like, let's just keep doing the same thing. You can't do that against the Chiefs. You can't do it. And there's a reason they weren't able to get to him in the second half. He is too smart for this. He settles into the game. You can't give him the same look for 4 quarters unless the same look is for him to run for his life. And that is the only look that works. Or to have another dude on the other sideline like Joe Burrow that's not afraid of him, because that is the only guy I've seen that's not afraid of. He's not afraid of Mahomes. He's not. Allen is. Jackson is. There's a fear factor with this guy now. It's like Tiger Woods when he's coming out and in his Sunday red. You just worried. And Mahomes is starting to put that in teams in the playoffs. And you've got to just put them a freaking way. And the teams that have been able to do that, they can they put pressure on them. That's what wins. Or they got a quarterback that just does not care on the other side. Sorry, Joe. I'm gonna let you finish your take. I was all fired up.
That's it.
My energy is gonna dip so quick. I'm not feeling great.
I just felt like Purdy showed. Not like I said, he didn't play bad, but he didn't elevate the team around him, and so I don't put him in the same category as like those Bradys and those Burrows, those guys that will their teams to win. I think he's an excellent quarterback in the position that he's in. Like, he's got a very talented team around him, and they do a good job of scheming guys open, and their running game is excellent. And they make Purdy look great. And in my opinion, they make him look better than he is. I just think if you put Purdy on another team, like a team that's not stacked like the 49ers, he's not going to be as good.
I don't entirely disagree with you on the Purdy take, but I really do feel like I put more of this on Shanahan. I just saw more coaching stuff. Like,
yeah,
come on, man.
Like I said, I
100% run some motion. It was Snead. Yeah, it was Snead and McDuffie on Ayuk and Debo all game, and they never were able to get them off them.
Well, remember when we were talking? Remember when we were talking about the matchups, right? Like the secondary versus secondary. We were breaking it down position group by position group, right? Like, everybody knew that the Chiefs' strength is their secondary. Like, so you're going to attack their biggest strength.
Thanks,
right? Like your strategy to win the game is you're going to go after their biggest strength. Like,
absolutely.
To me, that's bad coaching.
I completely agree. That's what I thought. It really, Med made this point. I don't want to steal it from him, but it's like the coaches need the credit, and I'm going to let him hit the whole point. It's Med's point. I'm giving Med credit for it, but it's like the coaches, he's a coach. The coaches need their guy to be that guy. Russell Wilson needed to be Pete Carroll's guy. That's why they lost that second Super Bowl. The Broncos, I didn't make this point yet, won their Super Bowls in the 90s against the Packers and then Atlanta because they let Terrell Davis be that dude. Elway was coming at the end of his career but could still make enough plays. But Terrell Davis was their engine, and they were 11-point underdogs to that Packers team. And you know why they beat them? And I remember this game. I was only 10, but I've watched the highlights, and I've watched the entire game in its entirety recently. They won because they used Terrell Davis. You need to do what you need to do to win. And Shanahan had the superior team and talent, in my opinion, even with the great equalizer in Mahomes, but he didn't use his weapons the way he should have to win this game. That Chiefs defense was weak up front. They had guys injured on that line. And what did you do? You run right at Chris Jones? Like, dude, that's just mad. Like, in Madden, I wouldn't do that. This is easy stuff. Like, Purdy was good enough to win this Super Bowl, and you kind of handcuffed him by not getting, they didn't get Debo going at all. Through the run, through the air. They didn't get Ayuk going at all. Jennings was
no Kittle.
It was ridiculous. Like, it was kind of sad, honestly. I was disappointed. No Kittle. Where was Kittle? I know he was banged up, but where was Kittle? Kittle's what? The second best tight end in the league? Arguably the first. Laporta right there. It's him and Kelsey and Laporta. And Kelsey took a step back all year. So it was pretty much Kittle or Laporta all year. Where was Kittle, dude? He killed the Packers. That's one of the reasons we weren't in the conference championship. Where was George freaking Kittle? Sorry. I'm kind of like, the more I talk about it, I'm like, man, I'm so sick and tired of Shanahan. Like, I just don't think, I made a reel earlier. Is this guy ever going to win a Super Bowl? My answer would be no. Super Bowl hangover is going to kick in. Purdy's contract's going to kick in. This was the 49ers shot, and I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl now. I just don't see it. I think another team in the NFC, I think Detroit will be the next challenger, and then either the Rams or the Packers. I really think that. I don't see anybody in the NFC East or the South. I think this was their window. Lions are going to come back better. The Packers are going to continue to improve. The Rams are going to fix that defense, I think. Kyle Shanahan's legacy is not looking good. Sorry, y'all got to give your Super Bowl thoughts. I've talked plenty. And Joe, so I'll be quiet now. I'm all fired up. That game ticked me off.
Again.
Plus, I'm so tired of the Chiefs. I'm
gonna use this analogy again. It's like perming your hair and going outside. Why? It's like a wet peanut butter sandwich. Don't nobody want it. It's worthless. Okay. What legacy does Kyle have? This is the second time that you have choked with a different quarterback against the same coach. Well, I mean, I'm not counting the Patriots. I'm talking about with just the Chiefs, period. But you're right. Technically, it's the third because what he did with ATL. But the issue I have is like, sir, you have everything you need to cross your T's and to dot your I's. I don't understand where we have failed to communicate to where you can't get what you need to be to win this game. You had the lead. You had not only did you have the lead, but you had 2 turnovers, bro. 2 turnovers that you didn't capitalize off and didn't do nothing with. Make it make sense. I don't understand. It's just like, you know what? It's like you telling somebody to come over to the barbecue, to come over to your house for the barbecue, okay, and the food ain't ready. And you sitting there wondering, where's the food? It's like, how many times are you just going to get to the finish line and not cross it? And if he don't watch his back, 3 strikes and you out. I say he may not have a job if he goes to Super Bowl for the 3rd time. And he don't do nothing with it, I don't see him keeping a job with San Francisco. I really don't see it.
So one of the things that I will actually comment on, and Joe brought it up, Kittle being gone, Samuel being gone, Ayuk. This isn't really an attribute to what Andy Reid did. This is what Spagnuolo did as a defensive coordinator. He took away the weapons. And to your credit, like you said, you're sitting there and you're running at the best defensive player they had on the team in Chris Jones. Not exactly the smartest thing to do. You spread it out a little bit. You get them on the edge. You try to – that's actually what they tell you. Like you said, when you're playing defensive end, which I did, you want to set the edge. They couldn't set the edge when they were running behind Trent Williams. He's the best left tackle in the game right now. And whenever you have a guy like Spagnuolo who has that experience, I mean, he's a great coach. I'm surprised he's not a head coach right now, because
he wants this job, don't you think?
Huh?
Do you think he's waiting for Reid to retire? I'm starting to think more and more on this that's the case.
Well, at the same time, I thought that Eric Bieniemy was going to take over for Ron Rivera, and we saw what happened there. I mean, it's
oh child, that was a mess.
And I mean, you can't really assume because there's going to always be another job and everything like that. And Spagnuolo, he could potentially take Andy Reid's job, but I don't think it's going to happen right now. And to be honest, I mean, that would actually lead it into another question. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, is there a possible of them actually getting a three-peat? I don't think so, because they got a lot to answer for as far as free agency goes. They got Gay, they got Jones, they got Snead, 3 key players on their defense that was phenomenal in this Super Bowl. A lot of people didn't really care for this Super Bowl, but me personally, as a defensive coordinator, I loved it. I was like, man, they putting it on it. Can't really say that the Greenlaw injury sucked, because I think that when he was on that field, that defense was just dominating. And to see a young man like that sit up there and he's jumping up and down a little bit before he goes back out on the field, tear out his ACL by doing that, tweaked his knee, that hurt me on the inside, because you don't want to see that.
Of course.
And it's just, to me, I don't know, but I don't think that they're going to do a three-peat, because they don't have the cap room to keep all the players they have. And plus also they have 2 running backs, McKinnon and Charles Edwards-Helaire are both going to be free agents too. And they're a decent change of pace with Pachinko, who usually does the tough running on the inside. I mean, and Andy Reid right now, let's be real, he's the best coach in the game. So
that's actually why I think they do. If they can get Chris Jones back, I'm not betting against the Chiefs. I'm shocked they're not the betting. I saw on, I think it was ESPN, which shows you, because I hate ESPN. They didn't have the Chiefs won. And I know Joe had a good point. The cupboard was bare, and we were worried about that. This is what's nuts, guys. We got to think about this. This was one of the ballsiest trades, and I'm giving it credit to Bill Simmons. He's one of my guys I listen to. I'm going to probably start listening to Dan Patrick and some other guys too. I was trying to tag my profile, Med, to send it over there. I'm working on it in the background right now, because somehow my destination worked.
Huh?
Well, so it's so weird. It's linking to Fun Football Pod, but not my Isaac Valenti, which makes no sense. I don't understand how that even still worked. Okay, off topic. But anyways, they made the point, guys. This was nuts. This was one of the ballsiest trades in NFL history. The Chiefs go trade Tyreek Hill. What do? Win back-to-back Super Bowls. Who does that? Tyreek Hill's the best receiver in the NFL. He just is. How did they do that?
This is something that's not supposed to be happening in the salary cap.
It's
And
not. And that's why I can't pick against them in this three-peat. They are going to be so motivated to do this. Somebody's going to have to take this from them. That's why I like this Bengals, if they can figure out their cap issues and if Burrow's healthy in the AFC, because nobody else has been able to beat Mahomes. Somebody in the NFC is going to have to rise up. Somebody's going to have to take it from them. Like, they're going to lose guys in free agency, but they've proven they can replace them. Who's gonna take it from the Chiefs? I'd bet on the field, but it's not. I wouldn't feel great about it. I'd still bet. Honestly, this is tough. I think they have a chance.
But I mean, are they really that great though? We beat them with Jordan Love.
Yeah, that was a regular season game in Green Bay. But we did prove a theory that I said on my last show. The Packers have a plethora of weapons and a dude with a really strong arm who was a little fearless. I loved that. But we were able to beat them because we have a bunch of guys that were able to get open. One of the problems with the 49ers was Kittle was injured. I don't know what happened. But their two main weapons, they should have had other guys like McCaffrey out in space, and they used him a little bit. And honestly, Juszczyk should have been used more too. He's a good receiver. He's underrated. So I'm disappointed those Juszczyk, Kittle, and McCaffrey weren't used more as receivers. Too. But the Packers, the way they beat them was interesting because the Chiefs were getting pressure on Love and he just didn't care. He was slinging it down the field. And our defense made enough plays in that game. The game that was really interesting to me, other than that one late in the season, where I was starting to wonder if the Chiefs had this, that they were going to be able to go to another Super Bowl, was the Raiders game. And that Raiders defense played hellacious. I think that that's the recipe with a fearless quarterback to beat them. Either have a Joe Burrow, which doesn't grow on trees, or you've got to have a hellacious defense. Like the Bucs did in that Super Bowl. The Bucs in that Super Bowl was just like the Raiders. Mahomes was running for his life. That's what you got to do. And the 49ers did that in the first half. I thought they were going to be able to continue it. I really did.
So, quick question, and this is a big question. If you're the Chiefs and you really can probably only afford one of them, what would you go with? Would you go with Chris Jones or Snead?
Chris Jones.
Around the room.
I don't know. I think I would actually go with Snead because your secondary is the strongest part of your defense, and he's the strongest part of your secondary. Yep. So I would try to keep that secondary together because you can always draft another defensive tackle. He may not be a Chris Jones, but he may be. You never know. And so I think I would try to keep. If you have an elite unit in your defense, I would try to keep that together as best I could,
I agree with that.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
The game is gearing more towards the pass happiness of what we've been seeing in the last 5 years. Chris Jones is a great player. He's had over 30 sacks in the last 3 years. But, I really feel like a shutdown corner is going to be more of a game changer than a dominant defensive tackle in this era of the NFL.
That Chris Jones play, though, where he rushed Purdy on that wide open touchdown pass was a difference maker in that game. That would have been a touchdown. That was a huge play. He makes those type of plays. So I love Snead. It's really tough. But that play was, and I'm not saying there wasn't play Snead made. Snead made several. The play he made in the AFC Championship game, they wouldn't have gotten to the Super Bowl if he hadn't punched out the ball from Flowers. So there's, arguments for both. But that play that Jones make, I just love that because when you've got a guy that can be disruptive on your defensive line to that extent, that's what I want the Packers to go get. If they signed Chris Jones and didn't sign anybody else, I'd be freaking ecstatic because I think he's that big of a difference maker. And that play was game changing because Purdy overthrew that guy. And that was, unless Purdy just missed the pass, that was a touchdown. The guy had him beat by 2 steps, and then he had to rush the pass and overthrew him because Jones hit him. It was just such a difference maker. So What if Jones signs for less? I don't think so after holding out, but we'll see.
He's not going to sign for less.
I don't think so either. But yeah, I mean,
They're all going to be divas because they won the Super Bowl, so they're all going to want money. Every last one of them. When you win stuff, you feel like you're in a position to make demands, but this is the NFL.
well, sometimes guys sign for discounts. I just don't think he's gonna. American Football Network with a comment. Look at that. Snead's the best cornerback in the league, and Chris Jones is the best defensive tackle in the league. I completely agree. I don't see, unless you're talking Aaron Donald, I think that's spot on.
Yeah. So American Football Network is another show that we actually put on our podcast Boys Network. He was on it. His name's Lincoln. Very smart young man. Really showed up. Thank you for joining me on Shots earlier today. Couldn't have done it without you and Janae. So thank you. Yeah, we're crushing
my peoples. I got you.
Sorry, guys. I would have joined. I was on my other show. I was on Talking
Steve.
Packers with Steve. Really cool show. You guys should check it out. I will, in this hiatus, I'll post the link on YouTube. It was really cool. We talked Super Bowl. Desmond, the guy that was on there was awesome. So otherwise, I would have joined y'all on Shots.
I gotta say, I don't think that the Chiefs. I mean, I think they have a chance to three-peat, because they always, no matter how bad they do in the regular season, no matter how many games they lose in a row, they always seem to find themselves in the playoffs. And then once the playoffs start, they're a totally different team, and it's like, oh, it's Mahomes' time now. So, I'm not gonna say that they don't have a chance, but I think that their division is going to be much more competitive this year. You have Harbaugh going to the Chargers. The Chargers are in kind of trouble. They're cap trouble. They're going to lose some players.
Yeah, they are.
They're going to lose some players.
Harbaugh's going to have a job there.
Yeah, but I think with Harbaugh and Herbert and whatever they do keep, I think they're going to try to keep as much of their offense together as they can, and they'll sacrifice some defense. But they'll still, their offense, if they can keep it together, and maybe, they got the 5 pick. So I've seen Brock Bowers mocked to them. If they get Brock Bowers, that's going to make a legit offense, dude. Like Herbert, Brock Bowers, Keenan Allen, I think Mike Williams might be gone. But then they got, Quentin Johnson has been kind of like a disappointment. So they could, maybe they want to go receiver in the draft since they're going to lose Williams anyway. Who knows? But then you got Denver, who I think is going to, I think they're going to get rid of Russ, to be honest with you. And I think they're just going to eat. I think they're going to eat the $80-something million dead cap just to get it out of the
suck. They're just going to suck. So,
but
you can't take an $80 million cap hit and be better.
No. Well, okay.
And Russell Wilson actually wasn't bad for them this year. That's the ironic thing.
General consensus would say, general football wisdom would say, no, you can't take an $80 million cap hit and still be competitive. However, I think the Broncos are going to surprise everyone, and they're going to be one of the teams that trades up for a quarterback. And depending on who they get, I don't think it makes them contenders, but I think it could make them competitive. I think that they could win 7, 8. If the Stars went their way, maybe 9 games. The
problem is the AFC is so competitive, though. I agree with you, man. They could be tough, but the problem is that the AFC is going to be so competitive next year. I think y'all are coming up, the Raiders. Not just talking.
But see, that's what I'm getting at. Is I'm not talking about the Broncos competing for a championship. I'm talking about being competitive, as in you're gonna have that division. You have to play everybody twice. It's gonna be teams feeding on each other, so it's you're going to see a division winner that's 4-2, you know what I mean? Everybody's going to lose to somebody in that division, I think. And so they're going to be feasting on each other, and then the AFC is ultra competitive, as you said, so you're going to lose a couple more games to outside teams, right? So and then I didn't even bring up the Raiders just because I didn't want to jump right in with the Raiders and be a homer, but the Raiders.
You can homer a little bit. It's been 2 weeks.
But the Raiders.
Yeah, go ahead, homer, man. We think you guys have a shot at the playoffs.
See, maybe. I'm not one of those guys that's unrealistic about my team though. Like we have some holes to fill, but I think we're in a great position because we have some cap space. We have all of our draft picks. Like our biggest needs are quarterback. We need an offensive guard, and they don't list this as a need, or maybe they do, like, but it's not as pressing. But to me, they need a nasty pass rushing defensive tackle. So if I'm the Raiders in the second round, I take Tavondre Sweat from Texas, and I have one of the nastiest D lines in football because I have Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, Tavondre Sweat, and Tyree Wilson, who's moved inside to defensive tackle. He's actually a much better defensive tackle than he was an end. So
good. Tell me all your secrets you're going to do in this upcoming mock draft that we're going to be doing this wheel with later.
Well, I mean, it's not really any kind of secret. Like, you know, I'm willing to share my view on what the Raiders should do and what I would do if I was the GM. Like, I'm not trying to hide anything. I think we have a need at linebacker. I like Diablo, but I think that position could be upgraded. I like Spillane a lot, but I think that linebacker, at the very least, even if you're not looking to replace Diablo, you can't go wrong with linebacker depth. And so I really like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. In the second, third round. Dude looks like a stud. So I might even be going.
I was going to say even Gray from UNC is actually a pretty solid one too. He's not Trotter, but he's right up there. Yeah, Cedric Gray.
Yeah, because I don't think that we're going to get Edger and Cooper. Like, I think he's going to be gone. You know, he might even get into the top of the back half of the first round. Right. And I want, to be honest, between Cooper and Trotter, I want Trotter anyway because Trotter is a really good coverage linebacker. He's really fast, and he can also he can be a thumper if he needs to. He looks like, they say that he's a little bit undersized because he's only 6 foot, but the dude, you know, he's got the pedigree, man. His father was a beast, and generally speaking, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, dude. So I'm willing to take that chance and then I know that Jacobs wants to get paid, and I don't think that the Raiders should pay him.
No, he was on the milk carton all year last year.
Say that again,
bro. That's what I'd be saying.
Go
have your money elsewhere. We'll find another running back.
Yeah.
Adios.
I already have my running back that I want.
Why?
If we're gonna get rid of Jacobs, if Jacobs is willing to take $6 million, I would have him back definitely because he's a good running back. But if he wants $14 million, he can go get that from another team, and I'll take Audric Estime in the third round or the fourth round. And
I almost took him in my mock.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, like I know that there's
running backs. I had fun.
I know that there's a lot of good running backs in the draft, and I've watched film on them all. To me, Audric Estime jumps off the screen, dude, because of his size. I've never seen a running back.
Have to check him out somewhere. I'm going to be doing a lot of mock.
I like Blake Corum.
Blake Corum is good too. I like Blake Corum. But
I like Braylon Allen.
Brooks from Texas is really good too.
I like Brooks. I took both of them.
I like Brooks. Brooks is fast, and he's faster than Audric Estime, and he's more shifty. But to me, why I would take Estime is because, number one, I've never seen a back his size that has such good feet and balance. When he's in there getting hit back and forth, like his balance is perfect, and he's always falling forward for that extra yard. He's a bruiser, dude, but he's a bruiser that has the speed to cut to the outside and gain extra yards. He's a Raider running back. To me, he's like, I don't know if you guys would remember this guy, but to me, he reminds me of like a smaller but still big and faster and overall better Michael Bush. Like,
I remember Michael Bush.
Yeah,
he broke his leg in Louisville.
Yeah, Michael Bush. He reminds me of like a slightly smaller but much faster and more agile Michael Bush.
Joe, you're gonna have to come on for one of my mocks, dude. I love your college takes, dude.
So
we're gonna have fun.
To me, I take Estime, like, and honestly, it's not even close. I would even trade up if I had to. to get Estime for the Raiders, because he's like the epitome of he just has Raider written all over him, dude. To be honest with you, he has either Raider or Baltimore Raven written all over him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's actually been mocked to the Ravens. But anyway, getting back to the Raiders, like they're coming up, and my point was that they're not as far away from being a legit contender as as you would think. So I think that they can fill the holes that they need to fill. Their biggest question is quarterback. Are they going to stay at 13 and take a guy like Bo Nix or Michael Penix, or is there some strange universe where Jaden Daniels drops down to like 7 or 8 and the Raiders can jump up and grab him? Because that's who they're really interested in as far as the top 3 quarterbacks, for obvious reasons. Like AP has history with them. They really want Jaden Daniels. And so if there's a universe where Jaden Daniels doesn't get drafted in like the top 5, 6 picks, I think that a trade could be had with like the Giants, because the Giants, they're not really looking to take a quarterback. I don't think they just gave Daniel Jones all that money, even though they probably should be looking for a quarterback, because I think giving Daniel Jones all that money was a mistake. But I don't think they're ready to chalk that one up yet. So a trade could be had. And so I think the Raiders are coming out on fire, dude. Like I really think this year the Raiders are going to be competitive. Like they're going to be a playoff team, maybe even win a playoff game. And then the following year is when you're going to have to really watch. Like I think they dethrone Kansas City, dude. Like they take over the division.
Because this might be my last episode with y'all for a while, because I am going to take this hiatus other than some pre-recorded stuff. I may hop on Janae's episode, but I'm taking the month off. A little bit later, before I dip, whenever towards the end, I need to ask some free agency stuff a little later, okay? That's the only thing I'm going to toss at everybody. Just because I had fun with it earlier, and I want to tease free agency because that one's going to happen before the draft. And while I'm more interested in mock draft stuff, there's some free agency stuff I'm going to be tossing on my channel and for Podcast Boys and for Blitz that I got to throw at y'all a little bit later once we close the Super Bowl chapter thoughts, once we're past that. Just to tease it for y'all. Are we done with Super Bowl?
Well, I think we've been done with Super Bowl for about.
It seems like it. I just want to make sure.
Now. Yeah. So, is there any questions you had as far as like anything you want to put into it, or you want to do that after the random wheel of team selection?
Let me just ask you all this, okay? We've got different teams we like here. Me and Janae are Packers. Med, I'm going to make this more fun. We'll make it easy, okay? Med's a Bears fan. I got Joe here if I know he's dealing with his kids right now. If you had one free agent your team could go after, and I'll go last, who would it be? And then I've got one more question after.
Janae, I'll let you hit that first.
One free agent. We're not talking draft yet.
Oh Lord, what me? Okay. Well, since we have a lot of issues with the running back side right now, besides because Jones is not the problem, it's Dylan. I would go for Blake Corum for a draft, but as a free agent, I would have to go for Derrick Henry.
Okay. Blake Corum, interesting. That's an interesting pick. I can see it.
I watched him the whole season in Michigan. That man is a beast.
I personally really like him a lot. I like Estime and I like Brooks and Allen too a lot. So any one of those I'd be happy with.
They could not stop that man when he had the ball at Michigan, and he played against some hard teams.
Hey, Matt, is this streaming on Twitter right now? I'm just curious,
yes,
Matt. I'm trying to. Cool, man.
Then for him to come back from an injury and play like that, listen.
I agree.
Joe, we go with it next.
Better recognize.
So, Joe, my question, I don't know if you heard it.
Sorry, guys. I'm getting
one free agent for your
food
team
right now.
You're good, man.
What are you getting?
He's busy.
It's called Topsilog. It's like you get beef, like a beef steak, and you cut it up and you cook it in a soy sauce and vinegar base sauce, and then you put it over fried rice, and then you put a fried egg on top of it, and you pop the yolk over it.
Ooh.
Sounds delicious right now.
It's bro. That's why I'm sitting here getting some in the middle of a football podcast, because when it's on, it's
hot.
on.
Get it, bro.
Because it's hot, and I'm
Get that food. Get that food. No, it's just who would you want your team to sign
my free agents that I would absolutely love to have, and we actually have the money that, I mean, we wouldn't be able to pretty much afford anything else, but I want Chris Jones.
Heck yeah, man. I want him too.
If you put Chris Jones on that Raiders defensive line, we're Super Bowl contenders.
That'd be
with
special.
Max Crosby.
That's why.
Can you imagine Chris Jones lining up next to Max Crosby?
No, I can't.
That wouldn't make you a Super Bowl contender, but okay.
That's what I just said. It'll make us a Super Bowl contender.
Your defense would be stupid, and your defense was getting pretty stupid good. I would give you this. You guys would be no fun to play for anybody. That'd be for sure.
Well, I'm assuming that.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
And that he plays better than our rookie Aiden O'Connell did this year. But
the biggest question for y'all is, what do you do with quarterback for you guys? It's not a free agent because there isn't one. I wouldn't do the Kirk Cousins thing.
No, I'm
so
good.
What do you guys do with quarterback?
I think we draft one, and we see another scenario that I don't want it. Let me make it clear that I'm not like pounding the table for this or anything, but a scenario that I could possibly see happening is if the Raiders can't get up there to get Jaden Daniels and they don't feel confident in like a Bo Nix or somebody, I could see them taking a chance on Russ for a year and having Denver pay his salary, a vet minimum salary, and let Denver pay him. So it's like we handicap our division rival, and we, Russ.
I've always been a fan of that.
Russ to me is not. He's not the old Russ, obviously, but if you take an honest dive into his season, he threw 26 touchdowns versus 8 interceptions in 14 games. And he did it with possibly one of the like 5, well, I don't know, middle of the pack receiving core, let's say, like Sutton is pretty good. Judy drops everything thrown to him. Like they have really, I mean, I'm just being honest, man. Like Judy was, I thought he was going to be good. When the Broncos drafted him, I was like, oh man, Judy's going to be really good, and he just hasn't panned out.
I got a question for you.
Yeah,
Joe. It's a curveball. Low key, I'm just curious. I like throwing these hypotheticals out there. Let's say the Bears let go of Justin Fields. Would you want him for the Raiders?
I would have before we got Getsy as our offensive coordinator, because those two didn't get along.
I was wondering about that.
No, I know. That's why I threw the question at you, because I thought it'd be
didn't get along in Chicago, so why would you bring him over now?
I completely agree.
Bring that mess with
it's just one of those things that it would have made sense if Getsy wasn't our offensive coordinator. But I also don't think Getsy is going to last very long as our offensive coordinator.
No, I don't either.
Because
one more.
The Raiders got Hugh Jackson as an offensive assistant, and I think possibly if the season starts going bad, Hugh Jackson will be the offensive coordinator before the end of the season.
Oh,
I agree. I'm so happy to have this panel on tonight. Janae, thanks for doing it, and Joe, man, you and Matt, I have so much fun on Tuesdays. Okay, I got one more. I think I know the answer to this one. Let's say the Bucs are dumb enough to let Baker go. How about that one?
I would take Baker in a hot minute.
Yeah, I would too, man. I really like the way he played this year, and I like the way their teammates responded to him. That was huge.
See, the only problem is that Baker played himself into a $40 million contract, and I don't know if the Raiders are the ones to give him that.
Well, at least he played better than Daniel Jones, who only threw 15 TDs. Baker had when it was a career season for him, it was one of the best seasons of any quarterback this year, actually. He wasn't behind that many guys.
And that's what I'm saying is.
Yeah, there we go.
He played himself into a nice contract. And if he's not
he did.
So if it depends on on what the Raiders' approach is. Like if they're saying, hey, we like Baker, we're going to make him our guy, then okay, go ahead and sign him, and I'd be happy with it because I've liked Baker since Oklahoma. He's a winner, and he has that winning attitude. Yeah. He's a great leader. I like Baker a lot. He has physical limitations, but I think if you surround him with enough talent like they did in Tampa Bay, I think, having a guy like Mike Evans really helps, and we have Devontae Adams and we have Jacoby Myers. Like, I think he could really succeed, and we have a running game. I think he could succeed there. So I wouldn't be
I
against
agree.
it at all.
I like the Baker idea. I can't think
And
of
I
too
think
many of the
he would get
quarterbacks I
along
think
with
are going to be
AB.
on the move. I mean, Atlanta's going to be in the market for a quarterback. We know that. Chicago might. Pittsburgh might, but I don't believe in Kenny Pickett, so I don't think you'd want him. But I think
Mhm.
Pittsburgh's going to be in the market for a quarterback, and it could be those teams might not be draft. They might be more free agency, in my opinion, based on their draft position.
So,
So-
real quick, because I got skipped out on the free agent question.
No, we never finished it. I kept
Yeah.
throwing questions at him. Who did you want, Med? I didn't answer it either, actually. I
Yeah,
was going
that's true.
last.
I'll go with Josh Allen from Jacksonville. I'm going to
I
get another
like
edge rusher.
that. I
Hmm.
like
Get another
that.
edge rusher to go on the
Mhm.
opposite side of Montez Sweat. And
I
this
can
is
see that.
keyed on, that'll be key on if we actually re-sign Jalen Johnson again. I mean, right
Mhm.
now he's considered one of the top, if not the top guy in the NFL as far as coverage goes. And that's no disrespect for Snead. It's just stats, PFR, check it out. And yeah, no, I'm thinking Josh Allen, get another edge
No,
rusher.
let Jalen Johnson go. We'll take him. We'll take
Yeah.
Johnson. It's okay.
Well, y'all took Amo
Ned-
so a few years
Ned,
ago.
I have a
so-
question for you.
We give you guys our guys once they're washed up. Like you guys get our tight ends, and you get Pepper. take our scrubs. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh God,
We've
this is so.
Robert Tanya was not a scrub. Don't do
Joe's
that.
like this food, man.
He's so happy right now.
Bro, it's so
Get
good.
that food.
Bro, my wife is Filipino, so she makes this stuff for me like all the time, dude.
Look
And
how
if you've
happy
been-
he is.
Have you been working out, Joe? Because if you have, like, when I've been starting to lift again, and my appetite, like my metabolism, like I need to eat so much. Like I didn't today, but I worked out over the weekend. I'm like so hungry. I don't know
No,
if
I'm
did you
just
start.
fat.
I didn't know if you started hitting that treadmill or not.
Mhm.
Man,
Yeah.
the only thing he's
That's
hitting
good, dude.
hard right. The only thing he's hitting hard right now is that damn bowl. I mean, look at that smile as he's sitting there eating it, man.
Bro, I'm telling you, if you've
Get
never
that
had it,
food. Get
if
that.
you've never had it, get yourself some Topsilog, dude. It's fire. But I got a question for Med. So yesterday or the day before, I was on the Frozen Tundra Network in the morning,
I need to go see
and
them
one of
boys.
the co-hosts of Frozen Tundra, Ken, he's a Bears fan, and he is absolutely 100% convinced that you're rolling with Fields this season, that you're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 1. So I'm curious about your take. Do you think that they stay with Fields and don't take a quarterback?
Hmm.
From what I'm actually watching and seeing all the rumors and everything, I think they're actually going to trade Fields at this point. I'm 50-50 on what's going on. And it's just, if you really pay attention to what's going on out there and see what they're talking about, there's just too many rumors. And whenever you hear enough rumors, some of them got to be true. And there's 3 teams right now that he's actually tied to with the Patriots, Steelers, and Falcons. If I were the Bears, I would actually trade down to maybe like the 2 spot. But at that same time, if you're going to get rid of Fields, go ahead and get Caleb Williams, because that's what you're pitching a 10 on. And I mean, it's just, I'm not really big on Caleb Williams. I'd rather have Jaden Daniels personally. I would pick Marvin Harrison Jr. first and hope maybe trade up, do the same thing that the Texans did this past season, where they trade up and got both the guys that are on their top of their board with William Anderson Jr. and CJ Stroud, trade back up to about the 4th pick with Arizona and get you Jaden Daniels at your 4th pick. Go ahead and just, if you really want to get rid of Justin Fields, I would actually trade back up to 4 or 5, get Jaden Daniels. Get Marvin Harrison, get Jaden Daniels.
Or here's another option. I don't know. I don't think you're going to find it as attractive, but let's say the Bears, for whatever reason, trade down a couple of spots because of the haul, right? Like you're going to get, even if you only trade down to 2 or 3, you're still going to get an extra first, maybe a second, right? So you decide you want those picks to help flesh out your roster.
Right.
So at 3, let's say you still get Marvin Harrison Jr., but at 9, you're not able to trade back up, right?
Right.
What would you say to like trading Fields and then signing like a Gardner Minshew to come in and run the offense with Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore?
You
Like,
got to get that quarterback, right? Minshew's not it.
no, I'm not saying he's like your future guy. I'm saying like,
No, I mean I get that though. If
I'm saying
if the
you
guy
take
isn't
the
there at
pick.
9, if you don't believe in, because who's going to be there at 9? Nix, Penix,
Yeah.
probably, or McCarthy. And if you don't believe in any of those three, then yeah, I kind of think you do that plan
It's
actually.
not even that. It's not even that I don't believe in him. I don't believe in him at number 9.
Yeah, no, I agree
I
with
don't
that
believe in
too.
them. Period. I don't think any of those three are actually going to be
I'm
great. I
with
really don't.
16. I have
Okay.
25 kids in my class.
I think Bo
So-
Nix would be all right, but not at 9.
So that's my point. Is like you take a guy like Minshew, and then you take all those draft picks that you've amassed into next year, and you get your quarterback next year, and Minshew is just like a stopgap. And I think honestly, Minshew played really good last year for
Oh,
the
he did
Colts.
good.
But
He did good. He's the modern day Ryan Fitzpatrick.
he's good enough to get you guys to a winning record for sure.
Yeah. If that was the case, if you were to actually trade down and you get rid of Justin Fields. Now, a lot of people won't like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to be realistic. There are 2 other receivers that are in the draft right now, which is Malik Neighbors and Odunze from Washington that are not far behind Marvin Harrison Jr., in my opinion. So what I would do is if you were actually to get rid of Justin Fields, get that haul. You already traded away one potential generational pick, maybe a second one if you don't do what I say, and say you trade down to the 3rd, you still have a chance at possibly getting Jaden Daniels. And then when the 9th pick comes around, you can still get a Dunze right there.
You
or
could do
Neighbors.
that.
Mhm.
Just by looking at what other teams need, as far as like the Tennessee Titans, they're going to probably need a left tackle because they haven't been the same since Lawan's been gone. 5, I pretty much have Bowers going to them, and I can go down the list. 6, it's a mess because the Giants don't know what they want to do. They got enough issues on if they're going to keep Barkley or not. But I think if you wanted to revamp the offense, you can go with a Dunze. But if you wanted to get another edge rusher and not spend all the money on free agency and get Josh Allen or someone like that, then you have Latu from UCLA or even Dallas Turner from Alabama. So you could do one of 2 things. You could either
Or Jared
beef up the
Verse.
defense or Jaden Hurst. Yeah.
No, Jared Verse or Verse. I don't know
Oh
how you
yeah,
say his name.
from Fuller State. Yeah, no, he's solid too, dude. I mean, there's this draft is actually pretty loaded at the top. It's what's going to happen in rounds. I would say about 5 is when it actually starts tailing off. So it's actually a pretty deep draft.
I got to tell you too, like I like what you said about so Marvin Harrison to me is like absolutely the number 1. He's the best receiver in the draft. Neighbors and Odunze are like pretty neck and neck as the next tier of guys, but I have them a tier below Marvin Harrison. I think Marvin Harrison's going to be an absolute superstar. I think those guys are going to be good, and I think that they have potential to even possibly be top 10 receivers. But Marvin Harrison is going to be a top 5 in the NFL guy, in my opinion. Within 3 years, he's going to be a Justin Jefferson, like that kind of a level of player.
He's
But
gonna be like
there's
that.
there's a couple guys that are projected as 2nd-round picks that I think are going to be absolute ballers, and that's
Troy
Xavier
Franklin. I mean,
Franklin,
Morgan.
yeah, Franklin too, but these guys both play for the same team. Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell from
I like
Texas.
Worthy.
Those guys together, they're an absolute, like the dynamic duo, dude. So I would love, even though the Raiders don't need a receiver, I would love to get one of those guys. Like they're both,
For
they
what
have
though?
different rates, but they complement each other. They're great.
Isaac, are you doing your mock draft stuff, man?
No,
You're
I'm
putting in
actually
that?
adding up numbers on the show.
Oh, cool.
I'm adding up our view numbers so we know what we're at. I'm a nerd. I like this stuff.
You're good. So
No. I don't even know how to pull up my recording from StreamYard, I may have lost it, so I'm kind of disappointed. I like how you highlighted me. I was like, "What's up?" I was like,
do we
I don't
find
really
out
have
which
anything.
teams
I haven't
you
done
have?
I haven't done all my scouting yet, so I don't have a ton
Well,
to
I
add
can
right now.
highlight
Unfortunately.
everyone. I see how Janae is sitting there just chewing on something all hard and everything.
It's popcorn. Look, Skinny Pop, if you want to give us an endorsement, baby, we got you.
Skinny Pop. I got here we go. Here's my endorsement. Coca-Cola, we want you. Our
Coke
show's
Zero,
going to continue to
baby.
hit it big. My last episode on YouTube's at almost 1,000. It's going to keep growing. It's a mock draft. Coke Zero. We want you.
Yeah, mine's
Sponsor
at
our
6.
show. Boom. 6 views. 6 people
views,
saw
get it. Getting it. I got 12 subscribers so far.
it.
We got you, Skinny
Yeah, the mock
Pop,
draft
right
one
here,
on
baby.
Joe, the mock
We'll
draft
take
one on
it.
YouTube.
We'll
That's
take
where it's
you.
at.
We do
We
Skinny
had a
Pop
lot of
over
fun.
here.
Well, when are we going to find out which teams we're drafting for?
We're about to actually do that in a second.
We're actually doing that right now. And then
Isaac,
Joe, I know I'm taking a hiatus, but every week I'm gonna do a mock or two. I'm gonna pick one night when the White's in there, and I'm gonna pre-record them, and I'm gonna do a Packer one, but I want to pull you for a Raider or an AFC West one. Okay.
Consider it training for the
Yeah.
big-
I mean, I'm not worried about you. You know your stuff. I'm gonna be look. I'm gonna do it like I do fantasy when I haven't studied and pick the best players on the thing.
So you want to go ahead and start this?
Yeah, I think we're good. I'm gonna do a little stuff at the end, but yeah, we're good. Let's do it.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce that we are in the early week of April, for like around the beginning of April, before the actual draft happens. We're going to have an 8-man podcast mock draft, really big. We even got a guy that actually does this for a living, mock draft guy. We're going to see who all still stays with us, who doesn't. We got Ben from Death Taxes and Sports, who's a big Cowboys fan. Joe, of course, the Raiders fan with us. We got me, Isaac, my co-host Seth. Janae, you would have probably been in this if we knew you at the time. Maybe next year we'll do a podcast boys one, but
it would have been fun.
It would have been fun. Isaac's daddy's going to be in it, and I'm missing someone else. Pete Collins from Fox.
Yeah, Pete from Foxborough Fellows.
Yep.
So that's going to be great seeing him and Joe go at it. So.
Oh gosh, I can't wait. I wish we could have gotten Pete tonight. Pete
Dude,
and Joe
I love the
we need to have a Pete and Joe comedy special. I seriously just want to I could just sit in the background, eat some popcorn and watch you two cook. It'd be great. You need a moderator so me and Med can take turns. But man, that is some pure comedy. I love it.
I just like to say stuff and watch his head explode.
You watch his eyebrows and his face just starts snarling.
It's the lip bite for me.
Just say Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi in the same sentence with Tom Brady and his head explodes. It's great.
And say coattails with Bill Belichick.
And say coattails.
All right,
love it, dude.
So 8 of us have already had the teams. Now we actually selected the best team the team that we root for. So of course Joe got the Raiders. I got the Bears.
Hold on. I'm writing it down. Joe got Raiders.
I
just want to make sure I knew. Who did my dad take? My dad took the Cardinals.
He has the Cards.
I got the Packers. Ben's got the Cowboys.
Yep.
Pete, you got the Bears. Pete is taking. I'm assuming he's taking the Patriots, right?
Yep.
Who's Seth taking?
Falcons.
Falcons.
Yep.
And who did the mock draft guy say he was going to take?
Peter, the mock draft guy. So we got 2 Pete's.
You got the Cowboys? Nice.
Peter! All right, who's Peter taking?
He's got the Jets.
Oh, ouch. Okay.
This is what he does.
Have fun with Aaron Rodgers.
So I'm
have fun with Aaron Rodgers, bud. Just saying.
If he actually sticks with us in this, I'm really looking forward to seeing how we stack up against him, because this is what he does. So first one up is going to be Ben. We're going to be doing a snake way of doing this. I am dead last. I don't know how that happened, but it happens. I guess it was my idea. That's why. And we're going to go ahead and get started. You ready?
Let's do it.
First pick. There it goes. Finally. So Ben is also going to get the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So who has this?
Ben.
Okay.
I'm writing it down too.
Okay. So this
Next
is me
up.
now, right?
This is you. So I'm going to remove the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Remove Jackson. Give me
Isaac is gonna
Detroit
get
Lions.
Carolina Panthers.
Eagles.
You get the
Fun.
Philadelphia Cry, Eagles Cry.
That's gonna
That'll
be fun.
fun.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna replace Jalen Hurts. Watch me.
All right, removing them. Next up, your daddy.
Like that he's behind me in the draft.
Will be before you in the next round.
Yeah.
He's got the Vikings.
Oh,
Okay.
It'll be kind of funny if he gets the Lions too.
Joe, this is you.
This is Joe. What
Get the
does Joe
Chiefs,
get?
man. Come on,
Getting
Chiefs,
kicker every
Chiefs,
round.
Chiefs, Chiefs.
You get the
Bengals,
Cincinnati
all right.
Bengals.
Ooh.
nice.
Fun one, dude. Fun teams.
I'm
Joe
curious.
Burrow's about to get Xavier Worthy.
Oh
to add
my,
to Jamar Chase.
there he go already.
I actually had him getting Keon Coleman.
Oh yeah, even better.
Yep.
Or well, we'll see about
Peter.
even better, but still good.
Rams.
Gets the Rams, probably the most surprising team this past season.
Mhm.
Next up is Seth. Colts.
Mm.
Pete.
Pete's gonna get the Bills. Oh, Pittsburgh.
We're almost halfway done already, dang. Because we already fell picked a team.
Not that he got the Steelers.
This is fun. We should do this for topics one night, man. That'd be fun. We have
We could probably do
pre-selected topics, and we have to go in that order.
Okay.
Chargers.
I know who's getting what I'm picking for fifth. All
Taking
right.
JJ McCarthy. That's who you're taking. You're gonna trade Justin Herbert. Do it.
And just like Jim. All right, so I go
Don't do
again
JJ like that.
because Isaac said we're going to snake it, so that way it's a little fair.
Lions.
I got the Lions.
Oh, cool. You got another
Ooh.
NFC North team. Look at you.
All right. Next up is Pete. Who does he get with the Patriots and Steelers? And I had it set up to where it actually does 8 seconds on each spin. 49ers.
Oh Lord. Okay.
That's
Pete. So Pete's got the 49ers. Okay.
I actually hope I get the Carolina Panthers, to be honest.
Huh?
No, actually, because I think it'd give me a break for one.
My
Is it
son
that?
is a Panthers fan.
I feel bad for your son.
My house is so divided. It's crazy. Like my house is so crazy. Like my other child's a Seahawks fan. My husband's a Cowboys fan. I'm a
Mhm.
Packers fan, and my other child is a Panthers fan. I'm just like, it's way too much
That's
going on.
crazy.
So
So,
Peter got Broncos.
yeah, Peter got the Broncos. Seth got the Titans. Pete, 49ers. We're up to Joe.
Joe, who do you want? Who do you want?
Kansas City.
I want to see you get Kansas City.
Kickers.
Come on, do it.
Kickers.
Come on, Spinner. Be good to us.
Ooh,
Ooh,
New Orleans.
you got some work to do.
Ooh, child. I'm gonna pray for you.
My
Yeah,
daddy's
let's
pick.
to Padre.
Who do I want for him? I don't know who's left.
Oh,
Oh, ouch. You'll have fun with that one. You'll make
Poor
fun out of
thing.
it.
Oh, he got a lot of work to do. Research.
At least he
I
got,
actually
he's
wanted
got
that.
4 teams. He gets a break with them. He's got the Vikings and the Cardinals early, so he'll get a break.
That's actually why I wanted them, so you can get a break. All right, next up is Isaac.
I'll take Kansas City.
Texans.
Texans! That's a fun one.
I already know you're gonna keep CJ. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And Ben gets the Bills.
And Ben's back up. Let's see what happens on these last 8.
Yep.
Last round.
Tampa Bay.
Bucks.
Next up is Isaac. This is your last pick.
Chiefs, Dolphins.
Good
I
luck
bet-
with
I bet
Joe
Joe's
Barry
gonna
as
end
your
up with them
defensive
Chiefs. He's getting
coordinator,
close.
son.
Yeah, you get stuck with Joe Barry again. Congratulations.
Have fun
Oh,
with
that's
that,
true.
sir.
Good point.
The Browns. This is going to be
Woo.
crazy if Joe gets the Chiefs. I'm expecting kicker every round with Joe.
That was Browns, right? The last one.
There's the Browns, yep. Oh, shit.
What?
You're gonna have fun, dude.
Who got
You got-
Kansas City?
You
Yeah.
did.
You
I did?
did?
You did. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Why are there's only 3 left? Did I miss somebody?
Oh boy.
There's 4 teams left.
No, there's 3.
There's 3 teams left. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was on
Oh,
Joe.
no.
There's 4 guys left. Why is there only 3
I
teams
might
left?
have accidentally not put one of the teams on here, so it'll be all right. I'll pick whatever team is left.
Okay. Because I'm on Seth now. There should be 3 left, right?
Yeah, there should be 3. And Seth gets
Okay.
Seahawks. P will get the
I'll figure it out
Ravens,
quick.
and I'll figure out, yeah.
Who's the other team? Seahawks and who?
And the
Rams?
Ravens.
Oh, Ravens? You got
There
the
you go.
Packers, you got the Bears, you got the Lions.
Okay, yeah, because it says 1 of 23. So who did I forget?
The Vikings, so the NFC North's taken. Did you put the Giants on here? I don't see them. It's the Giants.
Oh,
I mean, they're unforgettable. It's easy to forget them.
Giants, right?
I get the Giants then. Yeah, that's what it is.
I
could've
just
swore
looked
I
at
put it.
NFC and I figured it out. I was like, it's an NFC East team.
Okay, well there you go. Boom.
That was fun, guys. Med, what else you got for everybody?
How many rounds is the mock draft going to be?
It's going to be 3 rounds.
Okay.
Did you hear what Jefferson's doing?
Is he
Yeah,
begging Kirk
I saw
Cousins to
you
stay?
put something on there.
He's
Well, not
asking
only
for the-
that,
he's
he's
asking for
saying
the
that
bring
before
truck.
he signs a long-term deal, he wants to make sure that he's signing on with a team that's going to win and that's actually going to do something and go forward. He's not sure if he wants to sign a long-term deal with
Yeah, I heard that.
Minnesota if they're not going to progress. Well, I'm like, well, honey, you have to go to a different team, sugar, because they're going to be in the basement.
Mhm. Yeah, in about 2 years, I think the NFC North is going to be a tough division with the Packers, Lions. I don't think we're quite there as far as the Bears go, but in the next couple of years, I think it'll be a 3-way battle. Not next year; it's going to be between y'all and the Packers. But the Vikings, they're going down really fast. Danielle Hunter will probably be gone. Another person that I wouldn't mind seeing as a free agent come to us, but.
If they got the right quarterback, I could see the Vikings rebounding, but I just don't think it's going to be Cousins at his age.
No.
And they've got an offensive line to fix quick, fast, in a hurry. And they really need to get a legit running back. That guy started panning out at the end of the year, but they don't have it. But they do have weapons in that passing game, and their defense was improved.
And this running back draft is really deep. I mean, there's 5 or 6 guys that are going to be really good, and they can get
land
one of those guys. But the thing that sucks for the Vikings is that, like, if they they're picking, I think, number 11 or number 12. I don't think anyone is going to want to trade with them if they're trying to move up to get a quarterback, because I honestly believe if the Vikings trade up and get one of those top guys, like, they're going to be more than competitive. I think they're an interesting team, because if they get a quarterback, I think that they could be a playoff team, and if they don't, they're going to be at the bottom. They're going to be in the basement. So
the Vikings are 11. Good call, dude.
I don't know if anyone in the top 3 or 4 is going to want to trade with them, because then, well, think about it. So if the Vikings get their guy, they get their quarterback, and then they're good, now your picks are in the 20s for the next couple of years. It's like,
well, and the problem is also, Joe, that haul they're going to have to give up to go up to get the guy in the top 3, because unless Marvin Harrison surprises and goes in the top 3, you're going to have to move up to at least 4, and that's a 7-spot jump. What kind of capital is that going to take to pull that off?
At least 2.
It's going to take a lot, man.
at least 2 first-round picks and maybe a second.
Pretty much.
Maybe a third and a fourth too. It's a lot to jump up to grab a Jane Daniels, a Drake May, or Caleb Williams. It really is. You got to be sure if you're giving up that.
But if you get one of those guys, JJ resigns for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So
and then if they can keep a pick and snag a running back later, the problem is I don't like their offensive line, so that still leaves them with a. I mean, did you see Kirk Cousins at the beginning of this year? Man, he got smashed.
In the 4th, 5th, 6th round that can play, man. They don't have to be. They just have to be serviceable, you know.
That was a big weakness
You're
for
not
them,
replacing your entire offensive line in one draft.
It really would be, though. Can you imagine that would be such an awesome spot for if any of these guys have anything, if Caleb Williams, if Daniels, or Drake May, if those other two are better than we think, with Jordan Addison, with with Jefferson, and with Hawkinson. Oh my God, that is one of the best trios of weapons in the NFL, man. It really is. Dude, Addison was a beast this year. Jefferson, if he can stay healthy, Hawkinson's a damn good tight end. That is.
And then they get a running back.
And that defense actually was pretty good under Flores.
And then they get a running back later in the draft.
If they were that bold and the Bears figure it out, the NFC North would be the best division of football in 2 years, like Matt said. But the Vikings could get a foot in that race if they were to be so bold in this draft. And I love teams that are bold. The Chiefs were bold, and look at them. They won 2 Super Bowls. They've traded the best weapon, in my opinion, at least the best receiver in football, and followed it up with 2 rings. I mean, that just, like we said, doesn't happen. The fortune favors the bold. That's what I want the Packers to do. They don't do it. I hope they do this offseason. That's I don't know if we're getting towards the end. That's my hope, because I probably won't be back on before free agency. My hope is that the Packers get either in the draft or in free agency, they get a little bold here. I want to see us go spend some money, preferably on defense. But if they go out and get a running back or receiver, I'm not gonna be complaining. That's what we need to. We need to be aggressive here. This is the time to do it before Jordan Love's contract hits. We need to do it now. I don't know if they talked about that in Frozen Tundra, Joe. I bet they did. I've been limiting the number of shows I've gone on. Tonight I only went on Talking Packers with Steve because it was an hour right before this.
They were talking about that. They were saying that the same thing, that you need to negotiate with Love right now, because if he balls out this year, it's going to be very expensive.
Well, also, and we need to go spend money now before his money kicks in. That's why these teams with these rookie contracts try to land. That's why I think the 49ers are in trouble, because Purdy's coming up on that 4th year. So, and Super Bowl hangover. So, yeah. Ned, do you have any other questions?
I'm going to get going, guys. I got to take care of some stuff for my daughters. They have their Valentine's party at school tomorrow.
I got you, man.
They're filling out their Valentine cards. But,
hey, dude, it was fun to talk to you, dude. We'll talk again soon.
Man. You guys have a good night. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, dude. Take care.
Med, do you have anything else for anybody?
Not right at the second. Basically, like Isaac talked about, I'm gonna try to keep Blitz going, as well as shots in the next couple weeks, for the next 3-4 weeks, or however long you're going to be taking off. But it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. We'll be doing this mock draft. We'll set up a date. I'm actually messaging the people right now about what teams they have, and if they decide not to actually do this, then we got people that will take their place. And so other than that, pleasure. I mean, take your time, enjoy your time off. Lord knows we need it. And, that's pretty much it right now. Thank you.
Yeah. Janae, we'll be excited to see your show next week. I might try to hop on the week after. I will have some pre-recorded stuff. I might actually, since we're getting off kind of early and the wife's still gaming, I might actually put a little teaser out tonight. I'll be doing some pre-recorded stuff on the Packers and some other mock drafts. I don't think I'm going to hit all 32 teams, but I will hit all 8 divisions individually before the draft, because that one on my YouTube channel is taken off, and I'm going to go throw it up on all the social medias later tonight, probably. But that one is at shoot, it's almost at 1,000 now, man. That's crazy. I've never had
Well,
anything do that good on YouTube. That's nuts.
well, I
Um,
will actually do a teaser. I am planning on doing something that involves the Super Bowl and actually having clips and everything like that. It's going to be a top 10, in my opinion, what I'll be doing, and it's just going to be a surprise. So that.
see, now
And
you're tempting me to come out of retirement. Well, not retirement, out of my break,
Hiatus.
my hiatus, not
you
retirement. Yeah.
take your hiatus.
I might actually, to be honest with you, after free agency special in March, I might just dip for a few more weeks until April and just do the pre-records. I
Mhm.
might, like, honestly, after free agency, there's that onslaught. Then it's just mock draft stuff, and I might just keep doing pre-records. But we'll talk about it. I'll
Yeah.
definitely come back on for some lives, and at least one live in March and April. But I don't know. We'll see. The pre-records they're definitely working, so we'll see.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
But everybody, I want to say thanks for listening to this new show. I gotta plug the phone in. Hold on 1 second. 2 seconds.
And if you want to play your show real quick, Janae, as he's doing that.
Oh yes. I'm gonna be starting my show. My first episode's gonna be next week. My show's called Queen of Premiere, and I will be talking about movies, entertainment, musicians, music, just anything in the entertainment genre that'll tickle your fancy. So I hope you guys will be interested and just poke your head in and see what I got to offer.
There you go. And let me see if he's going to be back on, because I had to look on to something else. He's sitting there staring at things. I mean, he's
Oh,
gone.
and to continue to supporting
And he's
Podcast
gone.
Boys and continue to support our networks, uh, Blitz Hits the Fan, Shots by Med, Fun Football Podcast. Please keep supporting our shows. We appreciate it. We love the fans. We love when you guys come on and tune in with us, and just keep watching us and keep building us up. And we appreciate the love. Thank you.
Real. So that'll do us for this evening. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I'm about to hop off so I can go ahead and start uploading this to the internet and everything. And Janae, thank you for joining us again. It's
No
been a
problem.
3 hours with you. So it's
Hey,
been
I'm
amazing.
right there with you, brother.
Yeah. Sounds good. Y'all have a nice night.
You
I'll see
too.
y'all later. And
Take care, everybody.
night night.
Night night.